Welcome everybody to episode number 2 of Compa Talk. You guys are watching it live on Twitch. For those watching on the recording, you're welcome to stop by for our next episode that will also be live on Twitch. As you notice, we're missing a fellow podcastman who decided to fraud out on us, so we have started without him. We are
That's
here.
incredible. Unbelievable, man.
Unbelievable. We are
On
here
time.
without him.
I was here an hour early. Y madres.
And here we are without the thirdsman. But the show must go on, as they say. So here we are. Welcome to the stream. If you guys are in the stream, welcome. Happy to have you here. We're going to be talking about some interesting topics today. To kind of go over the lineup for what we got going on. We're going to talk about just a little bit about the lineups that we've seen released, some key players missing out of certain squads that we're going to cover, our thoughts on that. And then most of the episode is going to be focused on La Selección Nacional de Mexico, who has some stuff still going on. We still don't know who our forwards is going to be for the World Cup. And just give predictions on what we think will happen come to this next week with the friendly with Sweden and see how that'll go and stuff like that. So first and foremost, thank you guys for watching the last episode, if you did, and watch it on YouTube. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. I had some people message and say that they enjoyed it, so I'm glad you guys did. And second of all, I already mentioned this once, but I'll mention it again just for everybody who comes in and joins the stream. We are missing our third person, John Rivera. So if anybody comes in and asks, chat, take care of that. Let him know that he just frauded out. He didn't show up. So here we are. All right, Honda, let's go. Let's see. First thing we're going to cover, anything you saw with the USA national team. We saw they dropped their roster yesterday, I believe, right? Anything that you saw that might have been out of the ordinary there with their 26-man roster?
Listen, Berhalter, right? You're looking like Tata Martino right now. You're trying to copy his style or what? Because you're taking players that don't deserve it, yet the players that actually do deserve it, they're sitting at home now, not being able to go to the World Cup. Like, who's what was it? What was his name? He used to play for Young Boys. That guy, he's not going to the World Cup, right?
We also have Fade in the chat saying, what do you guys think about Pepe not making it? That's actually a big one. That's one of the big guys that were left out. And as a matter of fact, he's the main reason that USA even got to the World Cup for this time around. He was a big part in scoring goals throughout the qualifiers. He was, and just recently, like, he's been on form for the team that he plays at. So that was a big surprise coming out of the U.S. roster. Pepe left out. Pufak left out.
That is a very big surprise, but it also does with recency bias because when he left to Europe, right, he wasn't showing like what he was capable of. And now, okay, yeah, he's scoring goals, he's doing his own thing out there, right? But if you're gonna want to make it to a World Cup roster, you got to show that you're in it, win it, to be a starter, right? And Ricardo Pepi, I'm pretty sure that's the reason why he's out of the roster. I'm not surprised that he's out, but does he deserve to be out? Not really, right? Who I am surprised about, Brandon Vasquez, the guy from Cincinnati, scoring goals, putting him into what was the semifinals?
Yeah.
Philadelphia Union. Right? Why wasn't he called? Look, clubs from Mexico, right? Chivas, America. Right? I don't know if Cruz Azul is going after him, but I'm pretty sure they could go after him easily. The goleador, right? Give him a couple of games, started scoring already off the bat.
Right. Yeah, now, seeing the squad that we got revealed to us yesterday by the U.S., do you still? I have I've read some comments and people seem to say that seeing the roster, they aren't as hopeful as they were before the roster came out. So what do you think? Do you still have them in the same prediction that you had them when we first did the episode? Or do you think anything changes?
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes with this roster. All right, so
however, it's gonna be more of a struggle when it comes to facing Wales. That I think personally, right? Because you have Gareth Bale, who obviously, if it would have been like the full like I thought the roster was gonna be, okay, no problems for the US. But since there are key players that are out, gonna have struggle scoring goals, and Wales could take advantage of that counterattack. Boom, Gareth Bale. You have on the left side, I forgot who it was. Rangers.
Right.
I think his name was Mototo or something like that. But yeah, right,
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
he's on the wings. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're finished.
Oh, for sure, man. I honestly don't think the it's gonna make much of a difference. As far as how far they get in the World Cup, I think USA is still gonna get as far. I actually didn't have them qualifying out of the group stage, so I don't think it's gonna make any difference on how far they get, regardless whether they had the players that we've just spoken about or not. I still think they're gonna. Even with those players, I still think in my prediction that as much as I'd like to see them get out of the group stage, I don't know if they're going to. Like I said, we talked about this in the first episode. The game against Wales is going to be the make or break game for USA. They have to win that game. They know that if they win that game, they're pretty much looking at a second place spot if the rest of the group goes as planned accordingly. So for USA, it all comes down to that Wales game. They know they have to win. And I mean, for Wales, same thing goes for them. They know they have to win against USA to get that second place spot. And obviously, we have England finishing at first, a lot of us, and then those few people that think USA is going to finish on top. I mean, we'll have to see how that pays out.
Oh man, and speaking of the England squad, right? I feel like there's one guy who was left out of that squad. If you don't mind me taking this towards
Oh
the
yeah,
England,
go for it. I'm pretty sure we can all agree, and even my dog back here will agree. We it starts with a T, ends with an RE, or what? Are we thinking about the same person?
I was thinking of a striker,
All right, let's hear what you're thinking about. Let's hear it.
Ivan Tony. Okay, yeah,
Ivan Tony.
I could kind of see why he was left out, but at the same time, like he was bagging goals left, front, and center. He's a striker that most of the top EPL teams want for their roster for next, like even the next transfer window, right? Manchester United definitely need Ivan Tony, and because he is on Brentford, I think that's one of the reasons why he was left out. But
I think honestly, bro, as far as we talked about this with the Mexico team and the Mexican strikers. For a World Cup, I think, in my opinion, you need people who are in form. It doesn't matter what they have done in the past, what they're going to do in the after the World Cup. What matters is what they're doing in this moment in time before the World Cup. And I think Ivan Toney, other than Harry Kane, I think like we have somebody in the chat saying, Mr. Hans in the chat saying, bro, Ivan Toney is on form. He's got it going. Oh, we got a raid as we speak. Let's go. J Vibes with the raid. Let me turn off the sound alerts real quick. All right. Welcome everybody from the raid to the podcast. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for the raid vibes. If we have a mod in the chat, make sure to give him a shout out. But yeah, Ivan Toney for sure, man. I honestly think he was the most informed player for England as far as strikers goes. And like I was saying, it just came to my. As soon as I saw the list, I was like, where on earth is Tamari, man? Like, he's been one of the best center backs, if not the best center back for England in this point in time. And we just didn't see him we saw people like Harry Maguire, which I don't know if, I mean, he gets all the hate in the world, but I mean, I think England need that captain type player. And I think that's the only reason they took him.
Here's the thing. Don't talk to me about fucking Harry Maguire. He needs to leave Manchester United. I don't even care if we lose out on 80 or 90, 100 million, whatever his price tag was. Get him out of here. He was never a United type player. And here's the thing. I was agreeing with that one guy that was a meme that was saying Maguire is worse than Smalling, right? I said to myself too, like, okay, Smalling is not like good and anything like that, right? But he's better than Maguire.
Yeah.
I was like, gonna replace somebody who was doing okay, bad, and then replacing him with somebody who's way worse. Okay, you stats merchants, right? You look at your stats at Leicester. Okay, he was doing good, but at the end of the day, right? If you watched in, hey, week in, week out, like I did, because I knew, okay, United was gonna go after him, see what he could do. Ah, damn, this guy was worse than Wes Morgan, bro. I swear to God, I'm not even joking, bro.
Nah, dude, and it happens, man. That's the thing that happens with a lot of players, especially sometimes like And this again goes back to what we had in store for today's conversation. It's like managers just, it seems like, dude, our managers not paying attention? Do they not actually watch football? Do they, like, what is going on with some of these managers that just seem to have some sort of favoritism, some sort of reasoning other than football reasons to be calling someone up to a national team? And with that, I think with that we can agree that that's pretty much the two that we've noticed on the England squad that just weren't called up. Although we'd 100% agree that they should both have been there. I saw the Uruguay national team drop theirs a few hours ago. Nothing unusual with them. I think everything that we planned for them to drop, every player was on the list. I don't think there was anything crazy on that roster. If you want to confirm with me on that.
I want to take a look at it because I did not see who was on the Selección Uruguay roster at all. So
we did see Darwin Nunez get called up, which for the longest time it seemed like the manager Diego Alonso wasn't really convinced by him, and people were like iffy on whether he was going to get called or not. But we do end up seeing him called up at the end of the day, as well as Luis Suarez and Cavani, the expected. So Uruguay seem to have that same team.
Martin Cáceres called up.
I'm not sure.
He was called up, right? This is what I'm seeing from. I mean, I'm not sure if this is 26 players are called up. I guess it is. That's a surprise to me, though. Martin Cáceres from LA Galaxy. I mean, yeah, from what I'm seeing here. But,
do you think there's a better player in that position that could have been called?
I mean, not certain, right? But at LA Galaxy, like, he did really decent as well too. I'm not gonna tell you like he didn't do that. I'm just surprised because he was playing in the MLS, and usually when they're going for center backs, they're gonna go for the European national team. And
we did.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we did know noticeable call up by Uruguay. I've been seeing for the longest time that Ronald Araujo is going to be left out due to injury, but at the end of the day, he's called. I don't know why. I don't exactly know why he's called. Is he better? Am I missing something? Is he able to play now? But he was on the roster.
Listen, if he's able to play, that's fine. He's well deserved. But if he's injured, why not just wait a little bit? Because you're 23 years of age. Why, right? There's another center back. I mean, pick up the camiseta de Cruz Azul real quick, Matias, because he's an Uruguayan from America. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes, sir. He wasn't doing terrible. Is it worth calling a Jonathan Casita Rodriguez to the Uruguayan squad though? What do you think?
I was talking about a center back.
Oh, you're talking about someone else.
Talking about Cáceres.
Oh, you're talking about Cáceres from America.
He was doing really good, and he was probably the best center back from America in that entire thing, right? Or Néstor Araujo or Bruno Valdez.
How often do you think the South American managers look at Liga MX to draw a player from? Like, I think that may be a big reason. Even though Diego Alonso did win the title in Liga MX and coach for various years in Liga MX, how often do you think those managers look back at the Mexican league for somebody to draw a player, especially like a South American team?
I feel like Diego Alonso should definitely be looking back, and that's kind of a disgrace of what he did. That he didn't look at the Santos player either, Gorriarán.
Gorriarán was not called. That is right. He has been playing actually very, very well. So that is a surprise. Now that you say that, I didn't think of that.
So,
I mean, they granted they have Valverde in that same position. They have a few other midfielders that are pretty doing their job pretty well. But Gorriarán has been on fire. When I saw him, I went to the USA versus Uruguay friendly in Kansas City, and I saw, dude, he was probably one of their best players in that match. So that is a surprise. Now that you mentioned that.
Again, there was lackluster in the Selección Uruguaya during that game, but that could be for another day, right?
Right. Let's push the other European teams that dropped their squads. We saw Brazil's squad a few days ago. Nothing surprising there, I think, other than Dani Alves getting called up at his age, and Roberto Firmino getting left out for Richarlison. I think those are the only two like if and buts that you may have with that call up on part of
But
Brazil.
Selección Brasileña, it doesn't matter, right? They're super stacked to
Yeah, it
the
really
point
doesn't
where
matter who they call, who they don't call. They have
the
extras.
surprising one was Dani Alves. Might just be for like retirement reasons, but at the same time, I'm like, there are better right backs.
Oh,
Yo,
100%.
I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna come out and state this. I was running a little late, but I am here. To not interrupt the recording. I'm just not gonna turn on the camera, but I'll be in the background. Um,
All right, we have
but
John
to add
confirmed in
on
the background.
to add on to the point of the Brazil thing, man, I don't know. I feel like they could have brought in a better right back, someone that was a little bit younger to be able to keep up with obviously the competition that they're gonna have on that wing. Because I just don't know how much Dani Alves can offer you, other than more of a locker room person, other than to have someone there that has experience in leadership. I don't know what else he can offer you in terms of playing, and I just don't think that right now at the moment they really had another option in terms of having a quality right back. If that kind of makes sense, but
when
they
I
just
when I look at that Brazil team, I think that is the reason that when I see Dani Alves on that list, that's what comes to my mind. Like giving somebody that can give you motivation, that has been to World Cups before, that has experience, just somebody they want in the locker room to motivate your players, especially when you have a young squad or a younger looking squad than usual. I think that's the only reason that they called him. I don't think he's actually going to get much playing time. I could be mistaken, but
yeah,
Danilo
and I
shaky
think
too. Danilo shaky too. Like he's not even a good right back. I'll be real with you. I watch Juventus in day out, and every time he plays, I'm like, please, for the love of God, take him off right now because
right.
he's not doing well at all.
I was
Dorado
telling
and,
has
and
a
that
bench for a reason.
that's kind of the interesting thing, right? Because like you look at a team at like Germany, you know, they called up Makoko. You know, Makoko's 18 years old. He doesn't have much experience, and if he does get to play in this World Cup, that'll be his first cap for the national team. So you're looking at teams that in one spectrum are taking players that have never been to have never played a single game for their national team in this World Cup to teams that are gonna come in and bring someone like Dani Alves, is a little bit older and has the
right.
experience, but probably shouldn't really deserve to get that much game time, other than just being a locker room person and helping the team out in that way. So I don't know how much it's gonna affect Brazil in the long run because again, you would think that it's gonna provide and cause some problems for their defense, but I mean you don't really know what their manager's thinking or how they're gonna line up.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see.
All I'm gonna say is this is gonna be a very interesting World Cup. Like interesting players left out, interesting players that are inside the squads. See what they could do, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of surprising things going on even before the World Cup. One of the biggest surprising thing that we have going on right now leads us to the main point and the main topic of this episode of Compa Talk. What is happening with the Mexican national team? What is going on behind closed doors? What are we seeing? What are we not seeing? Who do we think is playing in the starting lineup come the first game against Poland? Let's hear it. What do you guys think? Let's talk about first about our game against Iraq. Thoughts on that, and then we'll cover in going forward. What did we think about the game, the friendly against Iraq?
So I like the fact that I'll start off with the fact that like it was nice to see that we came out attacking. Obviously, it's not a nation where you would be like, oh, they're there to cause you problems. But I feel like the one thing that I think we kind of lacked, and I've seen it in the past couple games. I think the last two games, this one and the last one, we kind of just before that we kind of just lacked like I don't know if I'd call it like want to attack, but like you see that like that attacking nature of going forward and trying to like progress and like push forward that we just don't see that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of difficult to try to get the national team to like start firing and start scoring goals. So it was nice to see them score, four. Granted, some of them were, the goals were what they were, but I mean, I think the first goal kind of spoke for itself. I mean, Gallardo popping up, and I think Gallardo's doing a good job, and he's coming back into form, into that form that we used to see, where he used to be, a starter for the national team. But I think overall the performance was a good performance, but you also got to keep in mind that the nation that we were playing isn't a big
Yeah,
one. So
you can't
I
credit
mean,
them extremely.
yeah, I mean, you credit the win, but I mean, you take it with a pinch of salt because there are things that we can still continue improving. But that's the way that I saw it.
take it with a pinch of salt, but this is a good medida for Saudi Arabia, right? You know for sure that now, if we face up against Saudi Arabia, if we play like that, we'll beat them. It doesn't matter what, right? 3 points. No offense to anybody who's from Saudi Arabia, right? But
Yeah.
let's be real, squad difference, it's massive.
I don't know. I don't know if the Iraq team is even close to Saudi Arabia. To be honest, lately, I mean, I feel like Saudi Arabia's. I mean, you look at their last game that they've played against USA. They tied a USA team who apparently was doing better than us in the qualifying, and they went 0-0 with the USA team. And maybe some say that they could have beat USA if they would have put in their chances 1-0, 2-0. So I don't know if Iraq is in the same level playing field as Saudi Arabia, but I do agree with if playing the way that we played yesterday, if they give you that much space to play, because we got to be honest, these people from Iraq yesterday, they gave Mexico the ball, the initiative, they gave you the ability to do whatever you wanted, to be honest, and they were just kind of sitting back with like their entire team Tamal version, waiting for people to attack you, waiting for people to make a move, you know, just sitting back in the defense with everybody just sitting back there. So if Saudi Arabia play like that, which I don't think they do, they're more attacking a little bit. But if they play like that, I do agree that we should be able to beat them regardless.
Saudi Arabia is hella defensive as well too. I'm gonna tell you this right now because watching the Saudi Arabia games as well too, they were hella defensive. They didn't attack even when the nation was like lesser form than they were. Would still go hella defensive and they counterattack like Atletico Madrid, right? Except a little bit less boring than Atletico Madrid.
And that's what Mexico does best. Whenever you give the ability, whenever you give Mexico the ball and the ability for Mexico to play football the way they know how to play football, and that's just moving the ball around, having possession. We know every Mexican national team, what we are known for is like having possession of the game, controlling the game. We don't play well when we let others have the ball. So when you let Mexico have the ball, I think it's, especially a team like Saudi Arabia, I think we should definitely win that game if that's how they're gonna come out.
I just think the way that I see it is like, you know, mainly every time we play qualifiers, anyone from the region, and for that matter, no matter if it's Gold Cups or, you know, or Nations League or whatever you want to call it, every time that we play a nation that, uh, basically any nation that's not the United States, basically everyone kind of sits back and kind of just lets us have more possession. But I think you saw it with teams like Jamaica and qualifiers and stuff like that, that. Like we cannot come out playing the way that we have been, especially in those qualifier games, because in those qualifier games against teams like that, we had the ball a lot, and you know we just didn't know what to do with it. And I feel like now we're progressing into actually being able to do something with it again, which we didn't struggle with before. You know, the first couple, the first like year and a half that Tata was in charge, you saw that attacking mentality, and obviously like the play and the way that we would generate our attacks was a lot different, and then you get into that gap where, you know, I think the pandemic also affected it a lot, but the way that we played after is just it's night and day difference. So I think we're getting back into playing that type of football, which is it's crazy because it's like, how are we playing like this now when over the past year and a half we have not been playing like that at all. So it's just it's kind of it's a shift, you know. It's good to see, but there's also for me there's always that fear in the back, just like, you know, are we going to revert back to the way that we were normally playing? Like is what we're seeing now what we're like, is this like better for things to come, or are we going to revert back to how we were playing during the
It also
past
depends on how we do against a team like Sweden when we friendly them next Wednesday with our supposedly starting lineup that says he's going to play everybody who he plans on starting at the World Cup. So if we can't beat Sweden with our starting lineup, that's showing a lot of problems heading into because that is our last game going into the World Cup. So if we lose to Sweden with our starting lineup, there's no excuses. There's nothing else you can say. You lost to a team that's not going to the World Cup, and you're going into the World Cup with a loss to a team like that. So that's not good on for Mexico at all. So
and that kind of just brings me on to like the next kind of topic that I feel like we should address is just like the whole Santi Jimenez thing, man. Like, how do you how I don't know if you guys saw his comments like over the week, over this week. He made some comments saying that he unfortunately he just doesn't have the minutes that he needs for a striker. But you look at players like like Raul Jimenez. He hasn't had any continuity with the amount of minutes he's getting, with the amount of so for him to say, yeah, he is the top goal scorer of the Europa League and all this other stuff, and I think he even tried to kind of take credit for bringing Santi along,
Yeah.
which is kind of, to me, it's like it's funny because yeah, like you can provide a player an opportunity, but like I don't know, for me, it's been more of the amount of work that he's put in to show that he deserves to be in that national team, rather
Right.
than the fact of anything of him bringing him on, because he said like if you guys remember, I was bringing him to the national team before he was even a starter at Cruz Azul. So to me, that is just like you're already kind of saying that you don't want to take him, and then on top of that, you're trying to take credit for the things that the guy's been doing, for the past half a year. To me, it's a little disrespectful and it's kind of crazy, but hey,
face. That's what I call it.
Yeah, it's
And
two-faced comment for sure. And let's stop
yeah.
and analyze that comment that we all heard him say. He said, "Quote Tata Martino." He said, "I know he's the Europa League top goal scorer, and he's doing well at his club, but he's not playing much." And how can you say that about a forward, about a striker who, in my opinion, is in the best form out of everyone right now, striker wise? How can you say that about somebody and tell the media that he's not playing enough, and then you're taking a guy who hasn't touched the field in 2 months? Like, it just makes zero sense. It's like, how do you even go out and say that and think that it's okay to say that? It blows my mind how the manager that we have just like somehow seems to not have any source of common sense. It seems like, apparently.
And they even asked him like, oh, like why don't you just take all four strikers? And he said, why would I take four strikers when I have Piojo Alvarado, and I think who else did he say, and Alexis that could play in that position?
Right.
Uh, but to me, like, I'm sorry, like I don't rate Piojo Alvarado at all. Like I just don't, because I feel like what he's able to provide at that point, if you're thinking about using Piojo Alvarado at striker, or or Vega at striker, why not just bring them in, man? Like, instead of
Right.
bringing Piojo, just bring in Santi. Like, like, even if you don't plan on starting him, you can start, whoever you want. But at least the guy, it's proven that he's going to give you goals off the bench because he's done it for Feyenoord in the Europa League with little bit of minutes. And you saw his last appearance in the Europa League, comes on 1 minute after, scores a goal. So like, where do you kind of like? I just don't know where his whole mindset is, and that's
I'm
kind of like the
gonna
thing where everyone's. Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask you guys a hot take question. This is for everybody that's listening in the chat. You guys can answer this with us in the chat as well. Feel free to answer this, and I'm asking this also to Honda and John. This is a hot take question, but I want to ask it in a way where it makes sense. So if I'm not making sense, let me know. I want to know: do you think, if granted Santi Jimenez does not take Santi Jimenez and takes the injured Raul Jimenez instead, for what it means to Mexico, the state of game that Mexico's in, how they're playing, what they need right now as a striker, everything of all of those things combined, put together, do you think this choice, this decision of leaving Santi Jimenez, if he does, can be one of the like biggest like of the whole World Cup? Do you think it can be one of the biggest like unfair decisions of the entire World Cup? Yes, no. What do you guys think?
I think so. I mean, to for you as a national team to come into the World Cup in the past year and a half, I guess you can even include like the last 2 years, not scoring much and needing goals, and the guy that is literally providing goals out of all the strikers that you have at your disposal, that you're considering, because at that point you're not even considering Charito to be part of the national team anymore. But to be considering all of that and not bringing him is a disgrace, because it's like like I said, to me it just doesn't make sense. You need goals. Why not bring the guy? I know. And like I said, I've always criticized. Um, I'm drawing a blank here, but the America striker. Um, yeah. I've always criticized him, but the man has scored goals, and I know that he's relying on Henry Martin to kind of also bring that. But at that point, why not bring the best strikers that you have at your disposal? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
So yes or no? What do you think? You're going with
Yeah,
yes.
I do. I will go with yes.
Oh no, let's hear your thoughts.
you're already lackluster in strikers that are scoring goals. You are taking away possibly their goal scoring from the striker position, which that's what a striker is for, right? Santi Jimenez is not going. It's a disgrace, right? And legit, you're leaving Chicharito in LA, right? Which, by the way, you know what? Just go hang out with him real quick, right? Because he's not going to the World Cup. But like, that's a disgrace in itself, right? But
Right.
reasons for Tata, whatever, fine. But then you're gonna leave Santi Jimenez as well too. Are you gonna count on Henry Martin to score goals who hasn't scored a goal in a while for La Selección Mexicana? Like, I
Or you're gonna
understand,
count
right?
on an injured number 9 Raul Jimenez who hasn't played a game in 2 months, or you're gonna count on an out of form Funes Mori who hasn't
I know,
scored a goal.
I know he scored yesterday,
I mean,
but
other than yesterday.
how does that? I just don't understand. You watched that game against Pachuca in the semifinals of the Liga MX, and how many opportunities did he not miss? How does that not tell you that like this guy's just not
It's
it? And
crazy.
I understand that managers have their have their favorites, have the people that they feel like they can rely on, but I just
100%.
don't know what I don't see what Rogelio Funes Mori has provided for the national team for Tata to be like, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that I can count on.
And the thing is, I wouldn't mind him being called up if he was in form, because for a while with Monterrey, he was in form. He was a top goal scorer. He was scoring goals. He was, banging goals left and right. So I wouldn't mind him being called up then, but not now when he's doing nothing.
He was talking about like people. He touched on something else about him not Henry or not Henry, but Rogelio Funes Mori having more how do I call it? Like he had more experience, but and more like I don't know what the word would be in English, but he called it jerarquía over Santi.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what are you really considering the amount of goals that he scored for Monterrey? Like the dude has
Right.
not been the same player for the past year and a half. So if you're talking about the player that we saw 2-3 years ago that was banging in goals for Monterrey, that's not the player we have today. So we can't. That's like looking at Ronaldo and saying he can be the same player that he was in his prime at Madrid right now. Like it's not like you're not gonna get the same player. Like it just doesn't work that way. And I understand that you feel like he's gonna he provides you some sort of edge because he's proven to score a lot of goals, but that's just because he's done it in the past. He is a little bit older now. We're in a completely different time, and also the players that he had around him at Monterrey. Unfortunately, right now the players that we have around La Selección, they some could argue that Monterrey had better players. But that's just the thing. Like you just cannot like it frustrates me that that's what he's looking at, like
Right.
instead of looking at the form and how well Santi's playing, and he's just considering what players have done in the past. Like that to
All
me
right, let
just
me
doesn't
ask
make
you
any
guys.
sense.
Let me ask you guys. Now to answer the question that I asked earlier, I also think this would be one of the biggest unfair decisions made by a manager from the entire World Cup, based on the given circumstances that Mexico is in right now and what we need most. This would, yes, indeed, be one of the biggest unfair decisions made by a manager. I'm going to read what somebody has said in chat. Beta said, I feel like yes, because you are demonstrating that you're not taking your job seriously. Why leave one of your best strikers that is doing amazing in Europe and taking someone that's barely recovering from an injury? So again, we've already mentioned something similar to that. He said we're already doing this with Chicharito too. Honda stated that as well. And just another few players to name that are also on like the wire, whether or not they're going. Eric Sanchez, El Chiquito Sanchez from Pachuca, and Kevin Alvarez from Pachuca. Do you guys think they deserve to go? These are people that are on the wire for Tata Martino. Do you guys think they deserve to go? If so, why?
I mean, dude, they did a really good job at Pachuca to get him the title. Like, I mean, those guys like I know Kevin's like form kind of dipped, and with it kind of like took him into from being like a for sure someone going to the World Cup to kind of being in doubt. But yeah, I think you take them. I think they provide something else
You take both
for the team. I think you take both. Yeah.
Honda.
You gotta take both, honestly. With Kevin Alvarez, although he had a dip in form, Julian Araujo had an even bigger dip in form. Jorge Sanchez also had a different form. So like, if you need somebody who's gonna be like the starting right back, even Kevin Alvarez is your guy because not only does he go up, but he runs hella quick down and he defends and he takes the ball off of you real quick, right? We saw that versus Toluca. Every time Jan Meneses would counterattack, he was right there. He took the ball off of him right away.
Right.
Jeez, it was done.
He's got the speed. He's got good dribbling for a right back, and he likes to attack a lot. So I mean, that could be a good feature to have incorporating into a team like Poland, who, as we know, their defensive line is not fast. Man, they're not known for being fast. So having people like Chuglozano, like Vega, like Antuna, who already have a lot of pace, add your left back and your right back who also have pace. That's a big advantage into going into that game. So that's definitely something that will give you, and his dribbling as well. So.
You mentioning Antuna also reminds me, like, I don't like, yeah, he's done stuff for the national team, but how much do you think Antuna provides for the team now? I mean, how much do you think he can actually,
I don't think he
you know,
provides anything crazy to the team, but I think when you need somebody, when the game is 1-1, the game is you're losing 1-0, and your team is tired in the second, or your opposing team is tired in the second half, this guy has like 99 pace, man. In real life, this guy runs like crazy. So you put this guy in, you send him a ball over the top, he's in. He'll get you a penalty. He'll get you out of every 6 crosses. He'll get you a good cross, but he's in there to get you. I mean, he's won us a lot of penalties, so I think he's good to have as a sub.
I'll give you this though. Would you rather have Linus, or would you bring on Antuna?
I think it's between. From what I've been hearing, I think it's between Linus and Alvarado. So if I had to choose between those two, I would bring El Factor Linus in this moment in time, based on what I've seen off the bench from Linus.
I think you just remember the moment that he had against Mexico. I mean, against the United States, Linus. You know, just the things that he can provide creatively. He takes on players. You know, he's not afraid, and I think we definitely do need someone like that because we unfortunately lost that. Now that we don't have Tecatito, we lost a player that has that ability to be able to take on players and have, because Chucky, he does it, but he doesn't do it as often. And I think Linus is, one of those players.
Right, he's one of those people that look to go 1-on-1 with defenders and try to get that skill move off. And you need that refreshing feeling off the bench, especially when you're in a tight situation.
But that's what I mean. That's why, I go back to the same point. Like if we're gonna take someone like Antuna and someone like Piojo, like take Santi, like I feel like this is just like, I don't know. I guess we'll see in the next couple days what the actual list is because the list hasn't actually come out. Like we're just speculating here, but these are the comments that our manager has given. So I mean, you can only take from his word what we think is actually going to happen. So, but
thoughts on apparently, from what I'm hearing, thoughts on Edson Alvarez being left out of the starting lineup against Poland is what I've been hearing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I heard that too. I was about to say, like, dude, what?
I'm starting to believe this guy has no idea what he's doing anymore, like at all.
Exactly. All right, so I'll leave you with this question: what do you think his midfield's gonna be against Poland, and what would your midfield be against Poland?
All right, so I'll go first. I think his midfield, from what I've been hearing, I think he plans on having Héctor Herrera, Luis Chavez, and Charles Rodriguez, from what I've been hearing. So I think that's what he plans on doing against Poland. My 3 would be Edson Alvarez at CDM, Eric Gutierrez, and Luis Chavez. Those would be my 3 in the midfield. Edson Alvarez as a straight CDM, Eric Gutierrez and Luis Chavez more on freely moving around in the midfield, attacking a little bit more.
I can't put that lightly right there. That's my decision as well too.
I think we all have. I think we all see the midfield kind of the same. I mean, in terms of what we want, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he goes with. That's the unfortunate part. It's like, why are we unless you're doing the crazy thing and you're starting Edson at center back? I don't see why you wouldn't get him the starting defensive mid spot,
right?
Especially because of how well he's been playing for Ajax over the past month and a half. So.
Like, it's been the only good thing about Ajax this past month. I'll be real with you.
And that's the thing, a lot of people rate him as a center defensive mid. There's rumors of him going to Chelsea before the end of the transfer window. They were definitely interested in picking him up. But this is what I mean. Like it's just a joke. Like to see like all the our quote unquote best players are the players that are like in doubt to either be in the starting 11 or even go to the World Cup. So like, how do you justify that as like as that's your manager? You know, I just don't understand it.
It's hard.
He wanted to resign, and unfortunately, like just the way that the board was, like, they didn't even accept his resignation. So like, we could have been in a completely different spot at that point. You know, we wouldn't be here if they would have actually accepted that.
Anda, go ahead.
I don't know what the board is doing either, because the board as well, I mean, están fumando la mota que les echan los narcos ahí.
Dude, I will say one of the things that I may understand from that decision, which still doesn't make sense, but one of the reasons I would maybe switch Eric Gutierrez out or Luis Chavez out for Hector Herrera is because you're playing a team like Poland, known for being taller than you. You need I would think you need some of the tallest people you have in the midfield to win those headers, the goal kicks, the 50-50 balls. That would be the only reason that I would start HH against Poland, and probably the only game that I would start him against, because you're looking at teams like Argentina and Saudi Arabia after that who don't have that. Yeah, so I would start Edson, CDM, and then Hector Herrera also to give you that aerial threat.
But I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how you guys feel about Hector Herrera, but for me, it's just like
not the same.
I don't rate the guy, man. I don't rate the guy.
Not the same anymore, man.
Just inshallah.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to point out. I don't know what it is, right? And like me and my dad always talk about it every time we watch the national team together. But we always talk about the fact that every time Hector Herrera steps on the pitch with Mexico, with the national team, it seems like he just feels like he's better than everyone. And I don't want to flat out come out and say that he does, but that's just what it feels like, because you'll see the pass that he could have made, and instead of passing the ball, he decides to hit it from outside the box. It's like, dude, like,
yeah,
like he's trying to play too much hero ball, and he should be providing more passes and more assists to players in better positions. But again, I just don't really rate the guy. So I'm like, I mean, he could play, because I mean we need taller players, but he wouldn't ideally be in my midfield.
He wasn't always like that. Back in Porto, right before he got his captaincy, he used to always play for the team. Once he got that captaincy for Porto, it was like, oh, I'm the fucking big dog here. I'm the best fucking Mexican. No, you're not. You're not.
Like
Lozano has been for a long time.
And there's a lot of ego things like regarding that, and I know that there's a lot of things that come out. I feel like out of all the World Cup camps that we've had over the past couple of years, this is the one that has the most controversy in terms of the players that were taken to the World Cup, the way that just the squad is, just their their chemistry together. On top of that, the way that their morale is, I just don't really see that morale, because like you saw it in the 2018 World Cup. You know, Chicharito giving that iconic speech. You know, why can't we be the dark horse? Why can't we be the lesser of the Premier League? Why can't we be the team that shocks the world? You know, and I think we kind of lack that mentality this time going around. And I don't want to speak like that's a certain thing, but that's just what it seems like from an outside looking in. So
I agree.
I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's just the way that I see things right now.
Let's give the starting lineups, man. We play Poland tomorrow, hypothetically speaking. What is your guys' starting lineup? And is there anything that you would do differently as far as which players you play, who you don't play, and why you don't play them?
I guess
because I'm interested to. Well, we'll start at the keeper. Who are you guys putting in starting keeper for against Poland?
I think you go out of the three that you took. I think you take Memo. I think just because of the experience.
I think Ochoa is 100% set there. I don't think that's one of the things that will not change for the Mexican national team as far as all these surprises that we're getting from Tata. I think that's one thing that's for sure. Memo Ochoa starting in the World Cup, and Tactus.
As much as I love Cota, but I just don't see him getting any game time.
Memo Ochoa is those type of players, right, that show up in the World Cup. You know, Shaqiri, right? You have other players that always show up in the World Cup. Memo Ochoa is one of those.
It's kind of funny to me because like you'll see like people upload on TikTok, be like, oh, like this keeper, like I don't even know where he plays, but like every time a World Cup comes around, he comes up. It's like, yeah, a lot of people don't know Memo for his club performances.
Bro, they're glad they don't, bro. He's almost the portero más goleado out of every league he's played at. So
yeah,
all that matters is that he does good in the national team in the World Cup. That's all I
Alright,
care
we got.
about.
I think at goalkeeper we're set. At right back, where do you guys think we're going on to? Or who
Now
would you
that's where
start?
it's like a toss up between Jorge Sanchez and Kevin Alvarez. I would say against Poland, I would put Kevin Alvarez at starting right back because of the way he has to come playing out the back. His dribbling is better than Jorge Sanchez, and I think his crossing is a lot better than Jorge Sanchez also. So against Poland, I would put Kevin Alvarez at right back.
I would agree with that.
I also agree with that. Like Jorge Sanchez, like he went downhill, and even before that, when he was like playing solid, crosses weren't even like that good either. So I would have put Kevin Alvarez just for the crosses as well too back then.
By the way, based to give context to the way that we're running this team up, we're going based on the fact of the that Tata's going with the 4-3 like he always has been
Right.
over the past couple times
Yeah.
that he's managed. So that's normally what he goes with. So we're managing it off of 4-3-3. But I think at center back, I think the two that I would personally take, I think you take you man, would you start Nestor? I
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't. I
No,
wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
no.
I
I watch
wouldn't.
this guy day in day out at Club America. I know.
No, I
I
honestly
think
don't know why Tata is so in love with Nestor Araujo, bro. Like he's
I
considering leaving out Johan Vasquez for Nestor Araujo, which is crazy.
that's another crazy thing. Like, dude, those and my two starting center backs. I was just about to say, since I don't want this, Johan Vasquez. I think as much
Yep.
as they are the younger pairing that you could have. Um, I just feel like them two together have always worked together, and you kind of saw it like just the way that they've been playing over the past couple months when they play together. I think that partnership works. And I know they're young, but I think this is also a way for them to get experience, get a World Cup in together as a center back partnership, going on to the future, to see where they can obviously lead us. But I think those would be my two center backs that I would play. But again, we don't have the official list of Mexico's yet, so we'll
I feel
see
like
if
we're
we
just
can
gonna
find it.
agree on the Mexico national squad because again, it's a yes for me as well too with those two center backs, right? If we're looking towards the future. Those two are gonna be our future center backs for the Selección Mexicana to come. I'm telling you this right now.
Yep. 100%.
All right, left back. Who do you guys think should get the start?
Man, that's a toss up still for me because I had Arteaga starting, but the way that Gallardo's been stepping up his game recently, it's like making you think that he can deliver a bit more on attacking wise, crossing. I really don't know. I think either of them will be fine. I don't think it'll make much difference on who we choose there. To me,
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm
I
still Yaga.
which I'll be honest, like before, even Gallardo, when Gallardo was first called up, I did not think he deserved it, because I thought that there
right?
was other players that were doing, a better job. But now seeing him kind of return to form, I think when it comes to either him or Arteaga, I think we're not going to have much of an issue in terms of who starts there. But Honda, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with whoever starts, but I'm still starting Arteaga as well too because he's solid when it comes to offense. Uh, with his team in Belgium, you see him giving dimes as well too, and it's not like okay, it's not the assist, right? But it's a pass towards a player who's gonna be in a good position to cross it in to get that assist, right? And that's what people don't look at usually.
Right.
All right, moving on to the defensive mid position, which I think unanimously it's on Alvarez. I think for all of us, we're
Yeah.
all gonna answer the same because
From
regard.
leaving Roma,
I don't think we have another player that can play there. I mean, we have Luis Romo as backup, but I think Anton Alvarez has got that one easy.
that's another that says it in the bag. It's
Hey,
not good.
you're not gonna use your Cruz Azul bias here to get Luis
Nah,
Romo in
no, no, no.
there. All
Not
right,
not
all
not for the World Cup, man. That goes aside. We put in the best player.
right. Even though he played for America, that's fine.
Yeah, I could care less, man. He's showing his work. He's putting in the work rate. He's the best player for Ajax by far, and so yeah, there's no other player we can put there.
All right, moving on to center mid. I think the first one. Again, like we said, that midfield prediction that we had, I think it was all the same.
Yeah,
Obviously, you take Luis Chavez and what's his name?
Eddie
Why do I
Gutierrez.
keep calling him Eddie Gutierrez? I think Eddie Gutierrez for PSV has had
He's been
the
great.
best form that
Yeah.
he's been showing the past couple months. He's been playing great, and he's providing them a lot of
Scoring
assists,
goals, giving assists, man. He's doing it. He's
Yeah.
doing it all.
Yeah, he's doing
Only
great. So I
one
think
I argue, and that's if he goes to the World Cup, is Eric Sanchez for Luis Chavez, because in the Selección Mexicana, Eric Sanchez has looked a little bit better than his compatriota
Yes.
from Chuca.
Right.
But
He's on the
nice.
chopping block as well. So
Yeah.
All right. I guess we can go left to right. Left wing. Who
left wing, we have Alexis Vega. We have
you playing
could be
Alexis
Pio
on the
Alvarado,
left.
could be Linus.
Anybody on any wing, I'll be real.
Yeah, I think I'm putting Alexis. His natural position is left wing. I don't know if he's gonna play him left wing or I don't think it matters, but I am putting Alexis Vega. There's not another one.
I tend to agree with that. I think the strike. I think it goes Alexis on the left and Chucky on the right. But yeah, you could interchange. I feel like any of these wingers can interchange depending on how you want to.
Right.
Either if you want them to cut them in, make sure they cut in, or they want to do like you can do many things with these wingers. So I feel like you could anyone on that wing. It doesn't matter who you play, but yeah, I would take Vega on the left.
It's a good thing that Tecatito's out because Alexis Vega is starting for me now. But if Tecatito were still in, hypothetically, right, I don't think I would start him. But he would be a great super sub.
Oh, for sure.
No, he would. All right, at the striker position.
Right wing, I'm putting Lozano. Obviously, striker. Man, bro. Again, we come back to the same freaking issue, bro. We're gonna be forced to pick between three strikers who are all not gonna provide much.
All right. Let's say Santi is not in the squad. Who are we starting against Poland? I would personally start Henry Martin just because he's provided more goals. He's been playing more out of all three strikers that he's planning on taking. He's the most informed. I would take Henry Martin.
Bro, you know what? Against Poland, needing a player who's taller, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts Funes Mori, but also I feel like that would be a good tactical piece to use. I mean, if Funes Mori is efficient and finishes chances that he has, it could actually be a good move, knowing that you're playing a team that has taller people, that has people of height. So having a Funes Mori, I think, is your tallest striker. So, you know, that might be a good decision if he's able to actually capitalize on the chances he gets. So we'll have to see. Against Poland, I think I would probably put Funes Mori for that solid reason in hopes that he can maybe finish his chances.
All right, I'm going to tell you this, right? John said he finishes his chances, right, Henry Martin. And he's not just like, oh, tap in merchant, right? This guy is winning you headers as a 5'10" guy.
Yep.
As tall as John, right? It's a little bit taller.
Right? He's taller than John.
Thing is, right?
5'11". Put some respect on my name.
Thing is, right? Okay, maybe he's not gonna jump as high as your fucking Cristiano Ronaldo's, your Zlatan Ibrahimovic's, right? When you're Funes Mori's, right? He's like an Oribe Peralta. He sees where the ball is going. He's gonna move towards where the ball is headed. Right? And I don't think Funes Mori has the equal capability of doing that.
I don't know, like
Right.
Like Hana, you obviously you know my thoughts on Henry Martin, but like
bro,
I said,
think about it. You're looking at my reasoning to start Funes Mori was to get a striker with height. Honda's decision to start Honda is to get a guy that has good movement inside the box, and John chooses Henry Martin because he's probably the best in shape. And now you combine all three of those things, and you have one player who's being left out with all three of those things. It makes zero sense, man. Every one of those aspects is in one player, and he's not going to the World Cup as of now. Nah.
Like how we go back to the same point, man? I don't know. I feel like this is all a joke. I feel like we're just throwing this.
Feels unreal, man.
You know what? We're gonna spot some controversy here, but he's throwing the World Cup to give Argentina another trophy.
It's written in the stars for him, man. He's wanting it.
He wants his country to get another World Cup, but man, come on, this is a little unserious. Like,
all right, boys. Coach Argentina himself, and then he's gonna fuck over another
Yeah,
country.
he's not
But
gonna
he
do
did
anything
coach
long term.
Argentina though already. He did, and he lost the
Yeah,
Copa America with
lost Copa
them.
America.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't fucking do shit
Right,
with
that Cheetah team was
Argentina.
actually pretty good, man.
Oh,
Hella stacked. It was hella stacked. What
Can't do
happened?
it. Can't win anything with
Alexis
Messi. What's he gonna do with
Sanchez.
our players?
Sanchez said, "Fuck it, Tata."
bro, he had Agüero, he had Higuain, and when Higuain was in form, like there's
Hey, yo,
no
Higuain
excuse.
was
He
in
should have
form.
won some. He
wasn't
was,
form,
but when he was
but-
playing with Napoli, he was.
Hey, yo, Wayne in his biggest form, in his best form, he literally cost Messi the World Cup, man. I hate that guy.
It's true.
You know what? You know what I say to that, Matthias? Messi can hold that.
Hey, yo. All right, boys,
Oh,
let's see.
man.
We're nearing in on the hour, so we're going to go ahead and get any last questions from the boys in the chat. If you guys have anything, drop them in. Now's the time while we wait for that. Yes or no, this is the question to end off the topic. I want nothing, no other words, just yes or no. Will Santi Jimenez go to the World Cup when we get the final roster?
Being hopeful, yes. Hannah, go ahead. He's a.
Yo, Hannes, bring out the gloves again. He's walking out of the room for the second time. This is the second time in a row, guys. Second time in a row.
Oh man.
Man. Thoughts, Honda, thoughts.
Oh, and because it's Tata Martino. I don't know what's going on in his head.
Right. My answer to that, it's not what I want. It's what I think will happen. Like I said, one word. I'm gonna say no. I don't think he's gonna go.
So it's just so
unserious. And I know as soon as we get the lineup and as soon as all the media outlets see that he's left out, it's gonna go crazy. I know all that people are gonna be talking about on the TV.
I'm gonna be hella disappointed.
Oh, yeah, I mean, everyone was already going crazy, but I don't know.
It's just waiting to make it official so people can slam on him more.
I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record, but man, it's just unfair. It's just unfair.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, everybody who listened in live, tuned in today on Twitch, thank you guys. We actually had good numbers come in, so thank you guys for listening to the Compa Talk. John ended up making it after all, so we got John to finish it off.
Everyone who's on the YouTube, like, subscribe.
Yeah,
Right,
also
we
give us
need
your
that
thoughts in the comments. We'll reply to you guys in the comments as well.
Yeah, leave your thoughts for sure. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know any other topics or conversations you guys want to see. Next week we'll be back with another episode. We'll have for Mexico wise, we have another friendly coming up, the one that really matters heading into the World Cup, and hopefully we'll see playing time from all of their starters, and we'll be covering that. And then we'll also have
by next week we have all the rosters should be announced,
all the rosters finalized by the 14th. So yes, we'll have all the rosters finalized.
I guess we can give it another look around to see the teams that haven't finalized their rosters to see what they're bringing in. You know, obviously we got another week of games, so someone can get injured, and that's another topic for that. So,
but with that, we will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for listening once again. It's been a pleasure. You've listened to Compa Talk, and we will catch you guys in the next episode. Stay safe.